Jamahl, did I catch you nodding your head?
I love the intro. The intro was awesome. That was amazing. I love that. That was very catchy.
Nice. Jamahl Grace, welcome to Lending with Purpose. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me today, sir. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. So just real quick, we do this, and it's called Lending with Purpose. And Jamahl Grace, we have conversations with clients and friends, introductions to various forms of information and professionals, resources that we use, like we'll talk about today, resources you provide. We look for that never knew existed. Folks are not going to know about your product or wanted to learn more about. And I think everybody needs to kind of learn more about this too as well. And I have some questions as well. Yeah. Based on a conversation I had with someone yesterday, I got a couple questions, but just real quick before we got started, we were talking about family, and one of the things you mentioned, you because for some reason I asked you if you had 3 kids, and you're like, no, I have 2 twins, and I'm like, well, me too, kind of. My kids are 15 months apart.
Yep.
So it took me sort of back like somewhat of a flashback down memory lane. I remember our first child was born in 2008. And that was during, one of the biggest financial crises.
I was going to say, that's a fun time to have children.
Like ever. Right. And then, I was telling you how difficult that was. So for us, I was, thinking back. And then so 15 months later in 2009, on the heels of that whole thing, we have a daughter, so son first, and then a daughter. But the things that, I was talking about, the difficulties were, just time management. We're having 2 infant children pretty much feeding around the same time. They still got to get their diapers changed, things of that nature. Not to mention, since we're talking about lending, I'm working my butt off, and, I'm in sales. Right. And so at the time, you're working, twice as hard, but you're making a third of the income that you were making before.
Mm-hmm.
Things really slowed down in our industry and such. And then so one of the saving graces for me, that now that I look back, and I kind of told this story before about how I was looking to exit the business. But my house allowed me to stay in the business, to continue to work in the business, to weather the storm. I'm not that smart, I suppose, because I never realized going through that sort of a struggle, that I had a home with a great deal of equity in it, Jamahl. And my credit was still intact. Everything was going well for us. Mm-hmm. And so I was able to take some money out of the home and use that to weather the storm. And so instead of taking a job that I had pretty much accepted, I decided to stay in the mortgage industry. And so I'm so grateful for that. So very grateful for that, because now I sit here with you and we're talking about, lending and candles and purpose and such. And so one of the things that you said, and I'll wrap this up before we started the live stream, that made me think about that particular particular story. It's not one of the finest moments in my life, but it is one of the finest moments in my life, because I got an opportunity to change and grow. Right. I pivoted. We all are saying that word a lot these days, but got an opportunity to change and grow. And so I appreciate you stating those 2 words beforehand, because I started to think about how grateful I am for that opportunity to actually go through that season, and what that's done for me specifically, because we've all had some challenges over the last year or so. Been able to sort of navigate and understand how to go through this health crisis that we're in, this pandemic. And so with that said, thank you so much for the inspiration to tell that story. Thank you for coming.
For sharing that story.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks for coming on board today to join us. I make a joke about this. So Steve Harvey does an amazing introduction for people. I mean, you know, just so awesome. Mm-hmm. I'm not even gonna even try to give you this big glowing introduction, because you're gonna do much better.
I'm sure it would be flawless. I'm sure Steve Harvey couldn't hold a candle to you.
Yeah, if you say so. No pun intended, candle. So tell us who you are, what you do, and then we'll get into our conversation today.
All right. So my name is Jamahl Grace. I'm the creative director at Grace+Love Candle Co. We're essentially a home fragrances boutique based out of Virginia. I'm also a twin dad and a husband. Love food, love dancing, love beaches, love spending time with my family, and just love being happy overall.
Yes, you do love being happy. When we got on this call beforehand, you're like, what did you say? Happy Friday Eve?
Happy Friday Eve, yes.
What did I say?
Bah humbug. It's actually hilarious because when I do say that a lot of the times, like even when I'm in the office at my full-time job and I'll say things like Happy Friday Eve, I kind of sort of get this look and people just look at me like, what? It's not even Friday. I'm like, I know, I said Friday Eve. So then we go down that whole thing and they have to register and they're just like, they can't do anything but laugh. And those are the reactions that I love.
That's funny. So tell me, I've heard this before, part of this, because I met you through an organization that me and a few buddies of mine started. And you went through our first cohort, being a founder that went through a pitch competition for us. And so congratulations on that. You did an amazing job. I got a chance to meet you, and I'll talk about how that all came full circle later. But why candles? Like, of all the things that you could have done, why candles? How'd that happen?
So again, my story, my history, my roots have always been centered in things of aesthetics and smells and scents and very much so that fashion type of things. But I've always, since I graduated college, I've always been involved in the corporate industry. So the candle company was actually inspired by my wife because we've experienced hard times, just like any other person in this world. Lots of struggles, lots of death, lots of uncertainty, lots of things that just really impact you as a couple, as a household, as individuals, as people. And we really needed to try and create some type of routine in our lives to just center ourselves and ground ourselves. We got stronger in our faith and things of that nature, stronger in prayer, and just really creating an overall peaceful environment around ourselves. I think that was really, really important to us. There's always so much chaos happening out in the world. We really wanted our space when we're at home to be tranquil and peaceful. That was one thing that I really felt like my wife could have used at a certain moment in our lives. And I've always been a fan of candles. So when we started doing candles, we'd have them all over the house. We'd have lights off and just candles lit, and just having a candle lit flame that illuminates the room, having scents going through the house that smells great. Those are things that just really made us happy and made us tranquil and made us peaceful. So it was great to kind of sort of see a light at the end of the tunnel through our dark times through candlelight, for a kind of sort of a lack of better words, right? But then this whole pandemic situation started to happen, and there was no part of me that was ready to lose the progress that we had made. There was absolutely no part of me that was ready to lose that. And a lot of people, I think, may underestimate the value that things like candles or home fragrance products can have and how it can impact your day-to-day life or your routine. But it really does go a long way in terms of affecting your mood or the type of person that you are. So while people were running out to the store to grab groceries and toilet paper, because there was no toilet paper, my instinct was just like, yeah, no, I need candles. I need to get lots and lots and lots of candles, because I don't know how long we're going to be stuck in the house for. And I want to make sure that my wife is going to be comfortable and happy at all given times while we're in this house, especially with two kids running around who can't get out like they want to. That can be very stressful. You're a parent, we all know how kids can be when they don't have an outlet for their energy. And so we burned through all of our candles like the first 2 weeks of quarantine, because I don't think anybody imagined that quarantine would have went on as long as it did. And so when we started getting to the end of our stash, I just went online and I was just like, okay, well, let me see if I can order some candles online. And everything that I wanted to order was either ridiculously expensive, because obviously people were price gouging given the status of the economy and everything like that, or they were out of season. So I couldn't necessarily find any of the fragrances that really my wife really, really liked and enjoyed. So I went on this mission where I was just like, I wonder if we can make candles. And I talked to myself a lot. So I had an entire conversation with myself, like, can we make candles? And myself was like, no, you can't make candles. You just buy them at the store. I'm like, but somebody at the store has to make the candles. And myself was just like, you know what? You're right. That's literally how this conversation went.
So you had a conversation with yourself about whether you could make, one of you could make candles.
Yeah, absolutely.
You or the other guy could make the candles, one of the two.
Yeah, I'm a Gemini, so one of the sides of my personalities.
Me too. Me
See,
too.
makes perfect sense.
That's why I understand you. So yeah, keep going. I don't want to.
Mhm. No worries at all.
I'm ready to keep hearing this story. Go ahead.
And so I went on a fact finding mission, a big research thing, because my mind works like a puzzle. I need to get together all the pieces of the puzzle and then start putting them together to understand the entire picture. And I started researching it, and I started becoming fascinated with the process behind it, because it truly is a science of sorts. Because there's weights involved, there's measurements involved, there's ratios involved, and those are things that I all love at my core, because I'm a nerd at my heart, that get me excited to just try and create something. And so started off small with like a little candle making kit and tried to get that purchased. But again, there were shipping delays, so it was getting harder to get that thing. But I told my wife, I was just like, hey, babe, I'm thinking about wanting to make some candles, and she was all for it. And then the more I researched it, and I got involved in the industry, and I started actually testing the candles, I started coming across different things about a candle business. And so I was just like, well, that's interesting. So I just started researching the candle business in general, because it was a fun therapeutic process to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, again, I was like, hey, babe, what do you think about starting a business, a candle business? And she oftentimes, like when I talk, she'll just be like, yeah, sure, whatever, sounds good. Because she just thinks that I'm all over the place. So I'm going to forget about it and move on to something next. So she was just like, yeah, sounds good. So I ordered little things here and there and did the process. And then after I got really good at it and I started really understanding it, and I had all of my notes in a row and had all my testing done, I was just like, hey, no big deal. I'm just going to order a few more supplies. So you may see a couple of boxes just popping up in the driveway. And so fast forward like 5 days later, when we had like literally 9 boxes show up in our driveway, and she was like, what did you do? I'm like, I told you we're starting a candle business.
And you told her you were only getting a couple boxes.
Yeah, that was my way of saying, be prepared for whatever may come.
Okay.
Because I was ordering things in like different sizes, and I wasn't sure how they were going to show up. And so when they showed up, I was just like, wow, I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting little, like Amazon boxes or something. That was not the case at all. And then fast forward a couple months, like when other people started finding out about it and we started getting their positive reviews, I was just like, we really should try and make this official and turn it into a company. She's just like, yeah, sure. And so I told her, I was just like, oh, by the way, I went ahead and got our tax ID number and I registered with the state of Virginia. And she's like, wait, what's happening? I'm like, we're starting a candle business. I told you. And it's just one of those things where progressively she has seen it grow. And I think now she's definitely all about it, all on board. But I think initially she didn't understand the vision that we were trying to execute. And she thought I was just, being me, playing around and things like that. But when I'm passionate about something, I'm passionate and I want to really see it succeed and really do well. And so fast forward, we're actually be coming up on a year since our launch date this July 1st. And it's been an absolute amazing journey that has brought our family even closer together for things. And for that, I could not ever be more appreciative, and I would never regret this decision.
That's an awesome story. Thank you for that. I when you talked about earlier the home fragrance products, and you was thinking about your wife. So a couple things. All those candles lit would scare me, number one, like fire. But that's just me. I know lots of people love them. But then also when I listened to that story, it kind of helped you through your relationship, and it was a calming factor, like at home and like you said with your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Outside of that, what are some other benefits, like from a home standpoint? Like, why, like, I know you've been doing a ton of research on this, but like, what are some of the benefits of candles, and specifically the way you do them? Because I had a conversation with someone yesterday, and they were asking me if I thought about candles and how potentially they're emitting like toxins and stuff into the air and getting into your body and things of that nature. But what are some of the benefits of burning candles?
And I'm really, really glad that you asked that question, right? And so one of the biggest things for us, especially because we have kids, we didn't want all of those toxins associated with a candle. And these were things that I literally never even considered until we started making them ourselves, in terms of the different chemicals and things that can go into a candle. So the number one thing about our candles is our candles are 100% soy wax. So a lot of the times in the market, you'll see paraffin candles, or you'll see what is really big now called soy wax blend candles. And so people see that soy, they automatically flock in on that soy, but what they're forgetting is the component that it's still blended with paraffin wax. So paraffin itself contains different types of chemicals that you may find in like airplanes or stuff like that, that burns through the wax, and that's essentially what you're inhaling. But plant or soy wax is a purely 100% plant-based wax that is a natural wax, and it's vegan friendly, and it's clean burning. So there are no chemicals or anything of that nature associated with the actual wax itself. As it relates to the fragrance oils and essential oils that we use, we typically tend to use fragrance oils that are blended with essential oils, and we only use high quality premium types of fragrances. So when we're going through our supplier, they go through rigorous tests that must comply with certain regulatory environments and regulations and stipulations to remove all of these different things like carcinogens and phthalates and things of that nature. So it really is going through rigorous tests to be a clean fragrance and removing all of that extra stuff that isn't really necessary for a candle. So we literally only try and source some of the most natural ingredients to go into our candles, so you don't have that concern about what you're actually inhaling. Because like us, we're very cautious about everything we use, from the food that we eat to the lotion that we put on our body to the deodorant that we use, as well as the candles that we inhale, because that's what you're breathing in. And we don't want our children breathing in bad things, and we don't want people of our candle family breathing in bad things. That's why we put in the time and the investment to source high quality natural ingredients.
Got it. So to me, candles, ambiance, light. The smell, it's fine. It smells okay, but like really, like what is it? What is this? Because folks are crazy about the candles and the scents and such. Like, what other benefits are there?
I honestly think the biggest benefit outside of the mental benefits, right? Because there's also mental health that can be associated with fragrances. Lavenders are meant to calm you. Peppermints are meant to energize you. Citrus fruity notes are meant to help you feel centered and balanced, because it gives off the assumption that you have a clean environment around you. So they can all the different scents can really impact your mental state in that way, because I think scent is probably one of the first things outside of hearing and seeing, right? That's a strong sense that you have. When you walk into a location, one of the first things outside of seeing or hearing something you're gonna do is you're gonna smell. And it's either gonna smell good and it's gonna smell bad. If I walk into a restaurant and it smells bad, I'm walking out. It could smell like mildew. It could smell like bad food. It could just smell dirty. I will leave, right? If it smells like delicious food, if it smells clean, if I walk into a hotel room and it smells clean, I want to stay there. I'm more enticed. I'm more relaxed. I'm more at home. So these things make you feel in a better mental state. But I think one of the biggest benefits that I classify as a benefit anyway is the feeling of nostalgia. I really love talking to our candle customers because they tell the best stories in terms of what memories are triggered based on the scents that they are most drawn to, or based on new scents that they've never smelled before.
Right.
When I hear people say, "Oh my God, I smelled this," and it reminded me of my grandmother when I was a kid and driving in her car, or it reminded me of being in the car with my husband and the kids, and it took me back to this moment in time. It taps into your brain and brings these things out of you that aren't necessarily lost, but they're just tucked away in a different part of your brain. And so scent creates that component of nostalgia and memory to make people happy and entice them, or just really take them on a mental journey.
Thanks for answering that.
Yeah,
I don't really have a follow-up question on that, but speaking of,
yay!
tell us about this, because we have a scent at Fortis Mortgage, and when you mentioned peppermint, I honestly didn't research to figure that out, but it does give me energy. Like when I smell that, it's like it kind of clears you out, and it's a really fresh scent. And I get a ton of energy, and I actually put some of this in my my office. And what is it called? The with the sticks in it.
The reed diffusers.
The diffusers. There we are. Diffusers. Put those. Put one on my bookshelf, and it smells amazing. And I like being in my office, and I spend a ton of time in there. But it's cool to open the door in the morning and walk through and get that fresh scent. But tell us about this this package here.
Yeah, so this is the custom package for Fortis Mortgage and all of the clients that you all are serving. You see here you have a candle, a wax melt, and a room and linen spray. And so these are all like different components of home fragrance, right? I think oftentimes when people think of home fragrance, they automatically flock to candles, which of course is a good thing, but you always want to be able to have different types of options, right? If you have little kids that are running around, you may not always want to have a fire that's lit. So that's where you have the options of leveraging things like wax melts or room and linen sprays or reed diffusers, because you still have a scent that's going to constantly be lingering around, but you don't have that fear that if it gets knocked over, something's going to catch on fire, which is great. And so similar to our candles, our room sprays and our wax melts and our reed diffusers, again, no chemicals or anything like that. We're only sourcing some of the highest quality fragrances, oils that it relates to. So really trying to remove out all of those components of any toxins or chemicals that are associated with those fragrances, right? I think for some candle companies, and again, this is just my personal opinion, yes, you can get fragrances at a lower price point to incorporate those things, but that's not what we want for our customer base. That's not what we want for our candle family, right? We want to give them high quality products. We want to give them exactly what we would give ourselves. So being able to leverage these different items like your wax melt or your room sprays are good as well, right? And the thing that's great about wax melts is you get a wax melter. And some people, what I've come to realize is there's a lot of people who aren't as familiar with wax melts. So I always love talking about wax melts as well. So you have like underneath there's different squares that you can actually take one out and put it in your wax melter or your wax warmer itself, and it will melt down the wax and the scent will just get spread throughout your space and things of that nature. And it's really, really cool because there's also different elements of wax melters. So depending on if you have a light, like it can create like depending on the design, it can light up your space as well. You have your good smelling scent going through. You have your ambiance set with a nice little night light of sorts is what I'll call it. That's what my kids like to refer to it as. And it's a good time. Peppermint or the actual room spray itself, that's a good thing if you just need like a quick pick me up or a quick refresh. If you know you have people coming over, you haven't had time to light your candle or set your wax melt itself, spray the room and linen spray. Spray it around in the room, spray it on your sofa, spray it on your carpet. That gives you a quick instant burst of scent that you want in your space. If you're expecting unexpected company, or if you just want to create that mood around yourself, that's a great thing to just pick it up and spray it a couple of times. You know, I tend to like it to spray it on our curtains and our bed. I use it a lot in my car as well. Because again, I just like good smelling scents around me. And the more I do this, the more sensitive my nose becomes to not so good smelling scents. So sometimes going to different places or restaurants can be a little bit cumbersome because when I smell something, I'm instantly turned off.
Well, yeah, that's amazing. Thank you. We've been getting so many compliments from the packages that are coming in.
That's
Like
awesome.
even the wax melt. The first one I got was a picture in the one of our clients. She sent a picture of her wax melter. She understand I'm a candle person and blah blah blah. And so
amazing.
I'm more impressed by the actual candle because it's got our logo on it and things of that nature. But she was really loving the wax melts because you know that was her thing.
That's awesome.
What someone else told me yesterday, we were talking and they're like, Shawn needs to send another one of these, so that you can have one for your bathroom. She told her.
Oh, I love it. I always love hearing stories like that. Really, thank you for sharing that.
No worries. And so, it was fitting for us to pull this together, you know, after we met, because again, I'm a founding member of an organization called Black Men Ventures. And what we aim to do is to provide access to capital for Black men founders like yourself. And you went through our inaugural pitch competition. And I think I texted you this a couple weeks ago. I'm like, you didn't win, but you won.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
You know, and so it was just a great experience getting a chance to meet you because throughout that process, more and more people got an opportunity to get to know you, to get to know your products and such. And then we have a partnership with Fortis Mortgage and Grace+Love Candles that you know we provide these closing gifts to our folks each time they close on their loan. And so that's been really great.
Yeah.
So far, so good. I appreciate that.
No, so I appreciate you, honestly and truly. I think one of those concepts, and this is something that's really becoming bigger, I think, amongst brands in general, is just the association of scent with a brand, right? Like if you ask somebody, well, what does your brand smell like? They're gonna kind of sort of just look at you like a deer in headlights. Like they don't really know how to answer that question. But what I did like about working with you is you were very particular about what your brand represented to you, right? It's classy, it's upscale, it's high end, it's sleek, it's modern, right? And peppermint eucalyptus, that's a good smell for that, right? When you smell that, you think of yourself being in a high end spa, and associating that with a high end brand like yours, I think is a perfect match.
Thanks. High end, but not out of reach.
I love that. That's good. I like that.
High end, but not out of reach. And so listen, how can we find you?
Oh, yeah. So you can always definitely check out our website at www.gracelovecandles.com. We're on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. So our @handle is @Grace+Love Candles. So feel free to join in along on our journey. We're always posting photos of different scents, different behind the scenes types of things, different updates that we have going on, and which we'll have quite a few coming down the pipe probably within the next 6 months or so. So it's been an exciting year, and we're already looking forward to 2022.
God, and what do you need? Like, what could we do for you? Because there's a network watching this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just tell your friends and buy a candle, or buy a room spray or a reed diffuser or anything of that nature. Any type of support or a shout out is always the best thing for us, because we're always looking to grow our candle family. We're always looking to have reviews. If anybody have any stockists that you know of anybody's stores who need good quality products, let us know. Look us up. We're always willing to just chat and grow our community even more.
It's awesome. Thanks again. So I put your information up. I'm gonna just post it up one more time. So anybody in the thread here, or the chat, I should say, post comments. Even on the replay, post the comments in here. Tag Jamahl and Grace and Love Candles. If you have any questions whatsoever, and if you need to get in touch with them, we can help you with that as well. But all of the contact information is here. So I can't really think of anything else. You're always very succinct, and you nailed it on you hit it on the head, like in regards to answering all the questions. My biggest questions were to really understand the benefits of candles. You clearly explained that. Gift ideas, though. Actually, yeah, we should have gotten into that. Give me some ideas of, like, for you, like, what are your favorites in regards to, like, these 3 things that you have in my box? Like, you have candles, you have the wax melts, and you have the linen spray. You have a favorite between them?
I'll be honest with you. Like, it just depends. Like, to me, that's like asking you to pick who's your favorite child.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, wow.
And I say that because in my mind, they all serve different functions or purposes, right? Again, a wax melt is a great way to set it and forget it. You don't necessarily have to worry about it. If you rush out of the house like most of us do, and you leave your wax melter on, you don't have to worry about coming back down to, the fire department of your driveway or something like that. A room spray is a quick way to get your burst of energy if you need it really quickly. Somebody texts you like, I'm on my way, and you're like, oh crap, my house is a mess. And what is that smell? It smells like I have food in the garbage disposal, little spritz, little spray, and you get your boost there, you throw everything in the closet, and you're good to go. Or a candle, if you're trying to set a mood or a vibe for whatever it may be, that's always good, because you watch a movie by candlelight, or if you're spending time with your significant other, or if you just got done cleaning your house, because lighting a candle is like an essential part of cleaning your house. It just depends on what you want, what mood you're in.
Extension of your home. So here we go. So, dead or alive, you get one person, one question, breakfast, lunch, coffee, dinner, and email, whatever it might be. Who would it be, and what would you ask?
I'm going to take a bit of a different approach with this answer. I'm going to do it as a collective response. And I'm going to say to my ancestors who aren't here anymore. And that's to the ancestors that I never even met, but I genuinely feel they're all watching down on me. And the one question I'm just going to ask them is, are they proud of me?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
They would say yes, absolutely. They're proud of you.
Yeah, I appreciate that, sir. I do. It's one of those things where I think we all do this, right, to some degree. we always want that next generation to be better than the previous one. So as I sit here and I'm looking out over my kids and I'm looking out over my nieces and my nephews, like my parents have 7 grandchildren now, and we're all getting together for the first time next week. And I think it's amazing. Mm-hmm. And I sit here and I think about all of the possibilities and the potential for their futures and how amazing that they're going to be. And I hope and I pray that they're better than any of me and my siblings. And I know that they will be, because every generation has gotten better. Every generation has learned, and every generation has sacrificed. And so I could always just hope that each generation before us felt like their sacrifices were worth it, and that we are living up to our fullest potential.
That's great. That's a great response. Thanks for that. Thanks for that. We had a range of responses and answers to those questions and such, and this was a really good one. And I started to think back, like, boy, if you could have those conversations to kind of see the progression of life, and generationally how things have progressed over time, and one generation will be saying to the next one, it's I often think about that too as well. So thanks for bringing that up. It's pretty cool perspective. So everyone, thanks for joining us today. We really appreciate it. If there's anything that I and we can do to help anyone whatsoever, as I mentioned, there's always it'd be a shame for us to have this network of people and not be able to share that and create opportunities for folks in regards to the relationships. So if there's anything that we can do to help you, please don't hesitate to reach out. Still stay as safe and as healthy as you possibly can. The world's getting better. It's changing a bit, getting better, but just stay safe and healthy. And next week we will see you. Jamahl, thank you for your time today, sir.
Thank you, sir, for having me. I appreciate it so much.
No worries.